I'd like to call the Tuesday, December 16, 2014 Papillion City Council meeting to order. Ms. Wahinkle, would you please take the roll?
Lawrence. Here. Mumgard. Here. Gaines. Here. Glover. Here. Jaworski. Here. Klug. Stubbe. Here. Ingberg. Here.
Would you please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And do we have an affidavit of publication on file?
That is correct.
And a current copy of the Open Meetings Act is posted in the back of the council chambers. Administrator Hoynes is absent. Everything he was going to share is in the administrator's report that was in the staff packet. So if you have questions, reach out to him. For those in the public that do watch this, that is on the website as well, so people can go on there and look at the same, that what would have been given as an update. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda? Motion by Councilman Glover, second by Councilman Ingberg. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Next is item F1, Ordinance 1706, an ordinance to approve the change of zone of certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the City of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as Lot 1, St. Columbikill Parish, together with Lots 23, 24B, 25, 26, 27, 28B, and Lots A through F, inclusive Terra Heights. Both subdivisions in Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located on the northeast corner of 84th Street and 6th Street from R2, single-family residential medium density, and R3, urban family residential, to R3, urban family residential. To amend the official zoning map of the City of Papillion by changing the zoning district boundaries of the zoning map in accordance with Section 20532 of the Papillion Municipal Code, and to provide for effective date. Do you have a motion to approve Ordinance 1706? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Jaworski. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
Seven yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Next is a related item, item F2, Resolution R140194, an ordinance to approve a final plat for the property legally described as Lot 1, St. Columbikill Parish, together with Lots 23, 24B, 25, 26, 27, 28B, and Lots A through F, inclusive Terra Heights, both subdivisions in Sarpy County, Nebraska, generally located on northeast corner of Washington and 6th Street. The applicant is St. Columbikill Parish. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R140194? Motion by Councilman Stubbe, second by Councilman Florence. Do we have any proponents? Any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Thank you, Father. Next is item F3, Ordinance 1700, an ordinance to approve the change of zone of certain real property within the zoning jurisdiction of the City of Papillion, Sarpy County, Nebraska, legally described as a platting of Lots 6 and 12B in the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 14 North, Range 12 East, generally located at 500 Valley Road, from single-family residential low-density R1 and agricultural AG to multifamily residential R4, to amend the official zoning map of the City of Papillion by changing the zoning district boundaries of the zoning map in accordance with Section 20532 of the Papillion Municipal Code, and to provide for an effective date. Do you have a motion to approve Ordinance 1700? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Gaines. Do we have any proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? And the applicant is here. Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Related item, item F4, Resolution R140195. A resolution to approve a final plat for the property legally described as Tax Lot 6, together with 12B, all in the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 14 North, Range 12 East of the 6th PM of Sarpy County, Nebraska. Generally located at 500 Valley Road, the applicant is Papillion La Vista School District number 27. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R140195? Motion by Councilman Ingberg. Second by Councilman Stubbe. Do we have proponents? Do we have any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Also related, item F5, Resolution R140196. A resolution to approve a subdivision agreement for the property legally described as Tax Lot 6, together with 12B, all in the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6th PM of Sarpy County, Nebraska. Generally located at 500 Valley Road, the applicant is Papillion La Vista School District Number 27. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R140196? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Glover. Do we have proponents? Do we have any opponents? Council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Still related item, item F6, Resolution R140197, a resolution to approve a stormwater sewer easement for the property legally described as Tax Lot 6, together with 12B, all in the northeast quarter of Section 34, Township 14 North, Range 12 east of the 6th PM of Sarpy County, Nebraska. Generally located at 500 Valley Road, the applicant is Papillion La Vista School District Number 27. Do we have a motion to approve Resolution R140197? Motion by Councilman Ingberg, second by Councilman Stube. Do we have proponents? Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Brennan. Next is item F7, Resolution R140198, a resolution to approve the following 2015 trash hauling applications. I'm going to read them all. We'll do it all in one motion unless there's an objection to that. Then we can run it like consent and pull one off and do it separate. Item number 1, Abe's Trash Service, Inc. Number 2, Dale's Trash Service, Inc. Number 3, Deffenbaugh Industries, Inc. Number 4, Gretna Sanitation. Number 5, Metro Disposal and Recycling, Inc. Number 6, Papillion Sanitation. Number 7, Premier Waste Solutions. Number 8, Waste Management of Nebraska. And number 9, Waste Services of Nebraska, LLC. Is there a motion to approve Resolution R140198? Motion by Councilman Stube. Second by Councilman Gaines. Do we have any proponents? And I believe all the applicants are here. Do we have any opponents? Any council discussion? Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
Motion passes. Next is comments from council and from the floor, and I've got a couple of comments. Leonard Hallouse joined the police department on December 1st, 1992. He was promoted to lieutenant in August of 1997, and he is a graduate of the FBI National Academy's 193rd session. Mr. Hoynes.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, city staff, Hallouse, family members, special guests, speakers, and friends, allowing us to take a few moments this evening to publicly recognize the work of Lynn Hallouse. So the first order of business.
Interrupt you real quick. All the officers in the back coming in, feel free to continue coming in on the sides and fill in the seats if you can. But feel free to come on in as we're talking.
May I continue, Mr. Mayor?
You may.
The first order of business is to offer a public apology to Chief Hallouse. He tried with everything in his power to avoid any type of ceremonial departure. He's not the type of man that would want that. So, Chief, first I'd ask your patience and understanding. I know it's uncomfortable, but please understand this. It was the mayor who ordered this and Nicole who facilitated it. I had nothing to do with it. This evening, we've asked 7 different people who have worked with Lynn the last 22 years to offer their personal observations and the impact Lynn has made in the department and within the community. Each speaker will spend about 3 to 5 minutes discussing their personal and professional interaction with Lynn and the department. The speakers were specifically recruited because of their close working relationship with Chief Hallouse. After the 7 people have finished, Mayor Black and Lieutenant Chris Whitted will conclude the ceremony by presenting Chief Hallouse with his official retirement badge and a special proclamation. Upon conclusion of the proclamation, refreshments are available in the front foyer of the 3rd floor. You are all welcome to attend and offer your personal congratulations to Chief Hallouse. The first speaker this evening needs no introduction to many of us. Irvin L. Portis was the Chief of Police in Papillion from 1991 to 1996. Currently, he serves as the city administrator in Plattsmouth, Nebraska. Prior to asking Chief Portis to come to the podium, I'd like to point out something rather unique. In this room this evening, we actually have 33 years of consecutive police chief experience. Councilmember Steve Engberg served as Papillion's police chief from 1981 to 1991. Chief Portis served from 1991 to 96. I served, often referred to as the dark years, from 1996 to 2000. And Chief Alous has served, that was a joke, by the way, has served since 2000. Each one of us has brought a unique blend of skills and philosophies to assist making it the great department it is today. Of the 40 officers currently serving the department, each of us either hired or promoted the entire police force. Even with our different approaches, tenure, and policing strategies, we all agree on one singular theme. The department is as accomplished as it is today because of the officers serving the community. We recognize we're all part of a larger system. Allow me to provide a couple of brief examples. While serving as police chief, Councilmember Steve Engberg started the DARE program. Steve was also instrumental in the consolidation of the county 911 system and set the framework for a technology-driven department. Finally, Steve was one of the first public safety professionals to recognize the value of partnering with our good friends and neighbors in La Vista. While serving as chief, Steve created a joint investigations unit. Thank you for your service, Steve. In many ways, you're part of our coaching tree. Commend so. Chief Portis was the outsider brought in to manage what we all knew would be a tremendous growth period in Papillion. Just a couple of weeks ago, Chief Alous sent me a 5-page 1993 memo he dug out of former Chief Portis's files. Len often tells me he has files on all former police chiefs. The 1993 memo was addressed to Sergeant Steve Young and then Sergeant Greg Gallardi, written by Chief Portis. The memo was titled Pace of Change. In the memo, Chief Portis went on to detail 31 significant changes he ordered in his first 1.5 years on the job. One of the important conclusions Chief Portis made in his 1993 memo was, please keep in mind, we must keep moving forward. We cannot stop, we cannot grow stagnant. There's much to be done yet. So, Chief Portis, you can have the memo back. Len says he doesn't need it anymore. And we haven't grown stagnant. So welcome Chief Portis back home, folks.
Well, thank you, Dan. Mr. Mayor, Mayor Black, thank you very much for inviting me to this. Leonard, I don't care if you're uptight about this. You know, I suspected you would be, so what? Mr. Mayor, Council, I had the real honor of serving as police chief in this community. And for several years, it was a wonderful time in my career and in my life. And when I took over the police department, I inherited really a very good foundation that Steve Engberg left for us. And you did a wonderful job. You know, some of that foundation included some of the people behind us here, you know, affectionately referred to as Yogi, Richie, Kathy, Thompson. Well, we probably shouldn't tell stories about Thompson. And he is here? He is here? And well, then maybe we should tell those stories. But then again, yeah, this is about Leonard. And when I came in as police chief, it was very clear to me from the mayor and council that we had a good foundation, but this community was embarking and embracing on change and evolution. And within the police department, they wanted an evolution of continuous improvement. So we began talking at length about the type of the police officer we wanted to recruit and to rehire and to hire. And here's where we get to the story about Leonard. And we knew that we wanted, you know, the various characteristics we were looking for, particularly with an emphasis on education. And you know, Dick Kimball and old Liskey might remember this story, but on one Saturday we were testing candidates, and we had over 130 candidates in the room. I don't remember where it was. I think it was at the middle school or someplace at the high school. It was at the high school, but we were testing candidates, and a can test, and the expectation that most candidates would take about 2 hours to take this test. And Leonard comes in and he takes the test, and 45 minutes later, and I'm sitting next to Mr. Kimball. 45 minutes later, Leonard comes up, plops the test down on the table, and walks out. Dick looks at me and says, "Well, that's a flunk." and then Lowell and Dick score the test, and he got a perfect score. The only one that they could remember, the only one that I'm familiar with. So he then, Leonard then comes through the various hiring processes with a final thing. He's certified on the list of 3 or 5, whatever it was at the time, by the Civil Service Commission. And then I say to Dick, "I want to hire this guy." And Dick says, "Don't hire him. He's not going to stay." Because he's well educated. He's certainly assertive, and has a real clear idea of where he's going or where he wants to be. We hired him, and frankly, Leonard was my first hire, and maybe my best hire. I don't know. That's certainly the argument, but certainly a very, very good hire. And what Leonard did is he initiated that change that we sought at the time. And you look through his years as a police officer, and then climbing the ranks as a police officer, or to the police chief. He certainly fulfilled my expectations. So Leonard, congratulate you. Thank you for making me right.
Thank you, Chief Portis. And what he missed out on there, because he wouldn't talk about himself, is that Chief Portis also, 3 of his first hires, Leonard certainly was the first, I believe Chris Whitted was the 3rd, and I was the 4th hire that he made. And not only that impact on the police department, at the time Chief Portis was a very, very close confidant of the then city administrator, and we had an opening for city clerk and city finance director, and the city administrator really turned that search over to Herb Portis. Nancy Hypes was hired as a result of Chief Portis' background investigation, and Chris Myers was hired. So I think you see the impact of Chief Portis in creating a certain culture within the city of Papillion. Finally, through all of my academic training and police training and years as city administrator, in 1994, Irv gave me one of the best pieces of advice I've ever obtained. And it went something like this: good managers hire people with similar vision. He said, great managers hire people who will tell them no and oppose them. Towards that end, if I work here another 100 years, Len Luce will be the best hire I've ever made in that regard. So, our next speaker this evening is Dick Kimball. Dick and his wife Pat are natives of the city of Papillion. They've lived here since 1968. Dick's the president of Kimball Management. He helped develop Monarch Villas apartments for senior citizens, been managing agents since the project's opening. Dick was appointed to the Civil Service Commission in 1980. The commission's primary role is to identify the most qualified candidates for all positions within the police and now the fire department. Dick has been involved in hiring all 4 chiefs and every police officer you see in this room. He's currently working on his 5th police chief search, and he tells me it will be the last, but I don't think it will. So he'll be around forever. Dick's served as the chairman. When I asked Dick, how long have you served as the chairman, his response was several years. Well, Papillion became a city in 1870. We have no records of any other chairman on the civil service other than Dick. Now, we could have lost them. And I was just informed tonight, by the way, that there are an additional couple key commission members are here, and starting with Chief Engberg, Portis, myself, Len, and the next one. Very important appointments of mayor. We always have a lot of input on the appointments of that commission, and I think we're most proud of that commission over the course of time, because their primary job is to keep the politics out of public safety, and they take that as gospel. They do a very good job with that. And tonight we not only have Chairman Kimball, but we have Lowell Iskey, who I understand is the senior member. Lowell, if you could raise your hand, and you're behind me. And Jim Rattay, who's one of the more recent, probably the last 4 or 5 years. The other's John Lingelbach and, gosh, help me out, Warren Weaver. The most recent appointment couldn't make it, but send their regards. Lynn said they'd catch up with you later. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you help me welcome Dick Kimball to the podium and express sincere appreciation to he and the commission for their many, many, many years of service to the city.
Well, Irv, I don't quite remember it the way you had categorized the hiring procedure. First of all, I'd like to say that one of the responsibilities of the commission is to also adjudicate any complaints, grievances from the fire or police departments. And seriously, you have not put us at all. You have not put us to work at all, Len, and we do appreciate that. That's a testimony to good management, because all these issues were resolved down where they should be resolved, down at the department. Well, with that being said, regarding the hiring process, I remember sitting on the panel and opening the folder for the next applicant. I said, wait a minute, this guy's an active duty captain in the Air Force. He's a missileer. He's got 10 years in, and he wants to be a cop, an entry-level cop on the Papillion Police Force. Something's fishy here. But anyway, let's see what we've got. So we had prescribed questions that we could ask, and that's all we could ask. We could not do anything else. So anyway, Len came in, and one of the questions was, why do you want to be a police officer in Papillion? And Len, I think, gave the standard answer, I've always wanted to be a policeman, and Papillion's a nice town, and I've got high regard for the force. That's all very nice. But I'm wondering, why is he getting out? He's got 10 years in. He's going to make major pretty soon, probably lieutenant colonel, maybe even bird colonel before he gets out, and then he's going to trade that to be an entry-level police officer. It just doesn't fly. So anyway, as it happened, he did finish number 1. Surprise, surprise, right, Irvin? So then, after he was hired, I told anyone who would listen, we're not going to keep this guy. He's a burner. He's a fast burner. He's going to go right up the ladder. He's going to be looking for a larger city. But I do recall at the panel interview, when it was over, I did breach the policy, and I asked him, why are you getting out of the Air Force at this time? And Len said, I don't want to travel anymore. My family is here in Papillion. I want to raise my family here. So, okay, can't argue with that. So here we are. You traded in your Missileers badge for an entry-level police badge, which became a chief of police badge. And now you tell me that you're going to help your wife in her ladies' apparel shop. But that's not quite the career path that I thought you would have, but that's your choice. But along that line, if indeed evidently you are going to do it, so my wife has asked me to give you 2 strong pieces of advice. One is, no matter how helpful you want to be up there in the ladies' apparel place, do not follow them into the fitting room. And the other one, probably more important that you can relate to, is that the terms A cup, B cup, C cup, D cup do not mean the size of coffee cups at the Dunkin' Donuts. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Kimball. We can only hope that we're still as active in our community, and if we all are, Papillion will continue to be a special place when you keep being involved at the level Dick is. Our next speaker this evening is Bob Lawston. Robert S. Bob Lawston was appointed the Chief of Police in the city of La Vista in May of 2002. He has more than 30 years of law enforcement experience, the past 24 in La Vista. Bob is a graduate of Sam Houston State University in Huntsville, Texas, began his career in 1983 with the Texas Department of Corrections and then relocated to Southern California. Bob came to the city of La Vista in 1990 after multiple assignments, then he was appointed in 2002. Personally, I first met Bob in the early 1990s. He was one of the first ever DARE officers in the entire state of Nebraska. He may not remember it, but when we were introduced by Officer Tony Foster, by the way, who still teaches DARE in the city of Papillion, somewhere around 1991 or 92 at a special performance by the Shrine Circus for DARE graduates. Watching Bob interact with the other officers, parents, and kids that day, I knew big things were in store for Bob in Nebraska. So please help us welcome Chief Bob Lawston.
Leonard. This isn't going to be like the other guys that just spoke. On behalf of the local law enforcement agencies, I'd like to congratulate Lynn on his years of service to the Metro law enforcement community in the city of Papillion and wish him and Angie all the best, because you're going to need it if he's working at your store. I could go into great detail having worked around Lynn for the past 20 years, but you all know the Lynn that we know. I will miss his passionate dissertations at the numerous meetings we've had over the years. Lynn, tell us how you really feel about different subjects. I think there was no doubt we knew what his opinion was at any meeting that we were at, because I don't think I was ever at one where he never spoke up. So we thank you for that, because there were times where we needed you to do that, and you did. But because of that, we've kind of wondered what you're going to do in retirement. So we were kicking around. We've kind of ruled out that you will have any chance of being an assistant for the county attorney, nor will you ever be able to work for Dan Hoynes as an assistant. The FOP in La Vista also asked me to thank you for all the slideshow material that you've provided for them over the years. But on a serious note, we'd like to give you and wish you a heartfelt congratulations and the best of luck in the new chapter in your life. I'd like to present you with a token of our gratitude from your comrades in La Vista.
Thank you, Chief Lawson. Just a follow-up comment to help those that may be watching or don't know Lynn well, that him about speaking his mind. So when I decided to come up here and take this position with the encouragement of Dick Kimball, right, Dick? No. One of the things I knew is how good the people underneath me were, and that I knew that we wouldn't miss a step in the process. But as is the protocol, we had to go through a very comprehensive national search. These are not handoffs, people. These are competitive examinations. And now for the third or fourth time, we're getting the best and the brightest right here in Papillion, competing against everybody from coast to coast. But when it gets to the top three candidates, it really is, it's got to be a good political fit for the mayor at the time, operational fit for whoever's the city administrator, and I certainly had a high level of comfort with Lynn. But there was just something that I didn't know about. I've often referred when people ask about my relationship with Lynn, I say, well, it's kind of like we're big brother, big brother. Neither one of us wanted to be a little brother in it, so I was really struggling. And frankly, the mayor at the time wanted to go with another candidate. And I said, well, I don't know. And so I called my friend and mentor, Chief Portis, in Michigan at the time, and I said, what do I do here? There's a lot of variables. He said, it's easy. You go with Halous. And I said, well, tell me why. And he said, you are the kind of guy that needs men like Len Halous around. You throw stuff against the wall, and he'll make sure it's good stuff. He will vet everything in there. So personally, I appreciate those conversations over the years. Our next speaker, a little bit, Sheriff Jeff Davis. Dedicated public safety officer having over 41 years of service with the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office. I was in the second grade when Sheriff Davis began his law enforcement career. That's true. Sheriff Davis is a committed leader in his career as a law enforcement official. Sheriff Davis graduated from the 155th session of the FBI Academy. Keep that in mind, that comes into play later. 155th session. At Quantico, Virginia. His career has included being a dispatch or deputy sheriff in additional assignments and investigations, jail, and appointment as the chief deputy sheriff in Sarpy County. Sheriff Davis was sworn in as Sarpy County Sheriff in 2005. His career accomplishments are far too many to list in the limited time we have this evening. I think the fact that Sarpy County residents have reelected Sheriff Davis multiple times is all we need to know about his credentials. Mayor Black often says an election is a, quote, very public evaluation of your work. Sheriff Davis has received excellent evaluations every time he has stood before election. While his professional work has been very public, I had the pleasure a few years ago of coaching a 13-year-old baseball team in Papillion with Sheriff Davis. His son Jake in the audience tonight was our best right-handed pitcher. If any of you can imagine, just imagine for a moment, the coaching staff of Sheriff Jeff Davis, City Administrator Dan Hoynes, and Police Chief Leonard Halous coaching 13-year-old boys. And I still, by the way, guys, think having every player bunt while at bat when facing the best pitcher in the league was a good idea. They tried to talk me out of it, but I was the head coach. Needless to say, our coaching careers were short, 1 year. In one of our 2 wins of the year, I later found out that Chief Halous promised all the boys they could drive his Corvette if we won. I'm not sure if there's any pro-sanctions for that assurance, but I'm sure the statute of limitations have ran out. I'm not sure if he ever delivered on that promise, but Lynn, Gabe, Jake, and Bobby Herback want to cash that check. So, Sheriff Davis.
Oh boy. All this time, he's called me the crooked sheriff, and it takes tonight to find out he cheated on his entrance exam to get 100. At the Sheriff's Department, we have several core values, and one of those is service. And certainly, when you combine Leonard's service, not only to his country, but the city, he has over 40 years of that. More importantly, a test of a true leader. And I have an example. About 3 years ago, a Papillion policeman, or two Papillion policemen, had a traffic stop right here in the city. And as a result of that, had to make an arrest. Unfortunately, that arrest, they brought that individual to jail, and I'm involved in quite a lawsuit, but nothing to do with the Papillion police. As a side note to that, we had to view the video. And I don't even want to call this guy a gentleman because he was not. He swore at the police officers. He was not a nice man. And I look at all these police officers here and know that he would have hit our breaking point a long time ago. I would have put my hand down and said, no more Mr. Nice Guy. But these guys did an unbelievably professional, excellent job. So much so that in the end, they offered to have his son come down and drive his car away so it wouldn't be towed. That is an example of the Papillion Police Department. Now, Leonard would probably tell you, well, that's my administrative staff or my command staff or my sergeants. But we all know that goes from the top down, and that speaks well for Leonard Toulouse and his department. In the line of service, I want to tell you that I have a picture that I think epitomizes Leonard's service. Actually, I'll pass this around because you can't see it. I should have put it up there, but it's a picture of Leonard Toulouse. I think he's doing a DARE class or something of that nature. It says, and on this plaque we have, I enjoy working with people and want to contribute to the local community. I feel I can have a positive influence on others, especially young people. Now, that came right off his application to be a policeman here in Papillion. If you want to pass it around and look at it, I'll give it to you later, Leonard. It's pretty cute. He's got his hat on it. I made a coffee cup, same thing. But that's not all. I did try and go back and think of a few quotes, famous quotes from Chief Toulouse. And I remember early on, I think his first couple weeks as police chief, I opened up the Papillion Times and I read, who does he think he is, Boss Hog? Well, you have to ask Leonard who he was referring to at the time. I also know, and this was hearsay, no one told me about this, not Leonard for sure, but I heard in the previous administration, certainly not this mayor, he was in a meeting and somebody suggested, you know, I think we're going to put these GPS devices in these cruisers. And there was a response from Leonard, who do you think you are, big brother? So, as has been said earlier, Chief Toulouse had a tendency to speak his mind. And that's not always a good thing. It can get you in trouble. But from my perspective, I appreciate somebody who at least lets me know where they're coming from. And with Leonard, that's what you got. A lot of people probably surmise that I know Leonard because he's my brother-in-law or because he became the police chief, and that's actually not how we met. It was on Centennial Road, I don't know how many years ago. I was driving a rented car, and I was speeding. I think I was going 1 or 2 miles over the speed limit. rookie officer. That's usually why they stopped you. And of course, he cited me for speeding. I paid the ticket. He did a great job. He was professional. I've never held that against him. However, as luck would have it, just the other day, I'm driving down the road, coming past Caribou, and he doesn't see me, but I see him getting out of his vehicle. I kept going, and I started thinking something did not look right. Kind of have the proof here. It's hard to see this, but this is Leonard's car, and that is the no parking sign. Just saying. Like I say, no, not trying to get even or anything, but Leonard, one phone call to Boss Hogg, and we just issue a warrant, right? So. Anyway, all joking aside, we've had a great relationship. The sheriff, the police chiefs all get along. A lot of that is due to Leonard and the way he conducted business. We appreciate it. I certainly congratulate him tonight. Best wishes. One more thing, forgot. I know you're out of business cards, and you have new cards. Says absolutely hers, Angie Halous owner, Leonard Anthony Halous, triple dipping employee. Thank you very much. Congratulations, Leonard.
Thank you, Sheriff Davis. Not only a great law enforcement officer, but a better person and a good friend. Our next presenter, if you notice this evening, we really did touch on the local, the city, the county, is from the State Patrol. Major Brett Freeze. Since joining the Nebraska State Patrol in 1984, Major Brett Freeze has served in many positions within the agency to include field services, investigative services, police dog handler, SWAT, and an instructor at the NSP Training Academy. Major Freeze is a 2003 graduate of Northwestern University School of Police Staff and Command and the FBI Law Enforcement Executive Development Association. Nebraska State Patrol is one of the most respected law enforcement agencies in the state of Nebraska. While personally never having the pleasure to meet or work with Major Freeze, as a very young deputy sheriff in small-town Nebraska, I frequently found myself going to call thinking, I sure hope Trooper Balthazar or Trooper Weiss are close by. They always were. That reliance on that expert training and knowledge continued my next assignment and continues today when I see the assistant the Nebraska State Patrol provides, Papillion. The only time I've not been extremely relieved to see a trooper was a couple of years ago driving home from a Kansas City Royals baseball game. It's a night game. I-29 was closed due to flooding. The game went into extra innings. I had early morning meetings the next day. My passenger, Mayor Doug Kendig, was sleeping. Needless to say, I was driving a little fast. So, Major Freeze, it's a pleasure to meet you, and would you please tell Trooper Brueggemann I said hello and he owes me $72.
Chief, how are you? Hey, I just, on behalf of the patrol, I just got a few things I want to say. In 2009, I came to Omaha from Scottsbluff as the troop area commander here in Omaha, and I was invited to one of our first meetings with the chiefs and the sheriff. And I got to say, I give you a lot of gratitude because you really made me feel at home. I mean, you really did. I mean, you're very welcoming. You made me feel at home. And I appreciate that deeply because it's tough coming into a new area, not knowing anybody, and then having the welcoming smile that you had. But what was interesting was I heard the conversation and some of your quips and conversation. I thought, well, I really kind of like this guy. He tells it like it is. He lays it on the line and says what's out there, and he doesn't really pull any punches. And when I got back to the office, the lieutenant said, how'd you like the non-meeting? And I said, it's pretty cool. I met Lenny Halous. And their first question was, what'd he say? So your reputation, apparently, from it's not a surprise, I guess. I walked into something that everybody already knew about. But what I wanted to say was the other day. First of all, I had the privilege of speaking on behalf of the police, of the State Patrol, during your accreditation when you went public with it, and I spoke at that. And I heard people come to the microphone and speak to the assessors for the accreditation and talk very highly about your community and your police department. And the other day we were looking at how we were going to report some new reporting to the federal government on grants. And one of the things they're requiring is not what you've done, but what your outcomes were. And our grants people, they said, how do we do that? How do we report that? And I said, it's real easy. I know where to look. I said, pull up the City of Papillion's webpage and look at their community and look at the growth, look what's going on in that community, and then read the police department's annual report. It's online. And you are the example that I wanted to use for our people as to how you report and reflect in real words and in real action what you're doing to make a community safe, to improve the community, to improve its growth, and you always have the citizens at heart. And I appreciate that, and I learned a lot from our relationship. So on behalf of the superintendent, Colonel Sankey, who couldn't be here, we have this, cops always got lots of little junk that they collect, and we have this box for you. It's got your name on it. And inside, from the Colonel and the State Patrol, in grateful appreciation for fostering an outstanding working relationship with the Nebraska State Patrol, presented to you December 2014. Congratulations, Chief, on your retirement. And I don't think working in a girls' or a ladies' dress shop would be all that bad. I mean, the stuff we go through every day at this level, being that person would be freaking awesome, I think.
Thank you, Major Freeze. Our next, we're going to have a joint presentation. Our next two presenters are both from the FBI, and you got to bear with me because their qualifications are long, and I think I need to do them service. Two individuals. The first one is Thomas Metz. He's the special agent in charge currently of the Omaha area FBI field office. Mr. Metz was appointed as special agent in charge, SAC of the Omaha Division, April 2012, succeeding Wason Dunn. Prior to taking charge of the Omaha Division, he served as the section chief of the Transnational Organized Crime Section at FBI headquarters in D.C. As section chief of the organized crime, Metz ran a multi-million-dollar program with over 700 agents assigned to it. In addition to overseeing an organized crime task force in Budapest, Hungary, Metz also established new overseas organized crime task force in Vienna, Austria, Madrid, Spain, Prague, Czech Republic, and Bangkok, Thailand. Mr. Metz also served as the assistant special agent in charge of the FBI's Columbia Division as a supervisor in the Kansas City Division, several additional tours of FBI headquarters, and as a street agent in New Orleans. Presenting with Mr. Metz is retired Special Agent Wason Dunn. Wason was the special agent in charge of the Omaha Field Division of FBI from 2010 through April 2012, when he retired after a 30-year career of the FBI. At the time of his retirement, he was the longest-serving SAC of the FBI, having consecutively served as SAC in 3 field divisions in Springfield, Illinois, Newark, New Jersey, and Omaha, Nebraska. As the SAC in Newark, New Jersey, he was in charge of the 7th largest field office of the FBI. At his request, Mr. Dunn returned to Omaha, and I might add still lives here, is retired, as the SAC because it is his adopted home state. He has served multiple prior assignments here, including being the assistant special agent in charge from 1998 to 2002. Mr. Dunn's received numerous awards during his FBI career, including Presidential Meritorious Executive Rank Award, which recognizes the top 5% of federal senior executives and conferred by the President of the United States. In addition to his multiple assignments in Omaha, Mr. Dunn served as an inspector at the FBI headquarters in Washington, D.C., and as a supervisor in the Hartford, Connecticut FBI resident agents, several additional tours at the FBI headquarters, and as street agent in San Francisco. Almost there. Give me another minute here. Far too often, citizens are critical of the lack of cooperation at various levels of government. While I certainly have seen that take place occasionally, I can safely say I never did observe that during my law enforcement career. This evening we have at least 6 officers, maybe more, who have attended the FBI National Academy, and another one, Lieutenant Whitted, who's been accepted into the Academy in April. Being accepted and attending the FBI National Academy, by the way, free of charge, tuition free, is one of the most prestigious honors that can be attained as a law enforcement officer, regardless of the city, county, or state where you work. Even though Sarpy County is one of the smallest geographic counties in the state, we have one of the highest percentage of FBI graduates in the entire state. Going back to the time when retired Agent Dunn ran the Omaha field office, and probably longer based on Sheriff Davis's FBI grad number, remember my reference. Continuing on with Special Agent in Charge Metz, the local FBI field office has assured our law enforcement officers in Sarpy County have the highest and best law enforcement training in the United States. This, folks, is in large part because of these 2 gentlemen. Please welcome SA retired Dunn and current Special Agent in Charge, Omaha Field Office, Thomas Metz.
Thank you, Dan. Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, it's truly an honor for us to be invited here because there are some communities where the FBI is the last group of people they would invite to a government meeting. So, and we are very grateful that that's not the case here. You know, the FBI is a very proud organization, and much like the Texas Rangers, who have the motto, you know, one riot, one ranger, we in the FBI usually honor departing chief executives of law enforcement agencies by sending the special agent in charge. But in this case, we had to send 2 of us, primarily to make sure Len really was leaving. But no, no, in all seriousness, a career like Len's, somebody who is so deeply respected in the law enforcement community, would not be properly honored without sending both of us here to pay our respects and to extend our appreciation. You know, when I think of Len Halous over my many years of association with law enforcement in this state, several words come to mind: the words professional, the words proficient, the words partner, and the words friend come to mind. Len is somebody that we always counted on. Numerous people have remarked on his lack of hesitancy in offering his opinion. I, for one, always valued his opinion. He was one who you could count on to give you reasoned advice, who you could count on to give you the true story. And it was because of his leadership that the FBI has always had implicit trust in the Papillion Police Department, in its leadership, and in Chief Halous. It was also mentioned that he's been an attendee of the FBI National Academy. For those that don't know, I want to tell you that is not something an individual can apply to. You do not apply to the FBI National Academy. You are invited, and you are invited after an extensive background investigation is completed. You're invited based on your reputation in the law enforcement community, your leadership skills, and the regard with which you're held in the communities in which you serve. So to be invited, let alone completed, is truly an honor. And Chief Halous, when I think of him and the fact that he was invited to and attended the FBI National Academy and is still active in the FBI National Academy Associates, it just speaks very highly for the quality of leader that he is. So I'll let Tom Metz, who succeeded me, say a few words, and then we have a presentation to make.
Thank you, Wason. Mr. Mayor. Chief, your federal tax dollars are at work here. It takes 2 people to do the job of 1 person, but I don't know if the date of June 5th, 2014 means, I know you already picked up on that. My good friend Mark Elbert from Bellevue convinced me to go golfing with the chief, and I politely declined 2 or 3 times. And Chief, I think if you remember, I took out a rabbit. My driver exploded. I hit numerous houses and ceilings, but the one thing I'll remember about the chief was he was a perfect gentleman throughout, and the longer that we went throughout the golf course, I came to understand he had a very distinguished military career, very smart man. A lot of the things that Wason told me about the chief were true, and I completely understood why you were such a trusted advisor and friend of the Bureau. One thing I will hold against you, and you've already been pounded in this a little bit, was with your wife Angie. The chief kept going on and on about how the consignment store was they're going to double, triple, you know, and he kept going on and on. I finally said, Chief, what are you going to do when you retire? And and he told me what he was going to do, and I said, you mean to tell me the chief of Papillion Police, next time I see him, is going to be working for his wife behind a cashier counter selling used women's dresses? And he said, absolutely. And I thought, that's a secure guy. But with that, Chief, what I'd like to do, and again, you're a great friend of the Bureau, Waston and I both have a certificate and a plaque we'd like to present to you. And thank you again, everything you've done for us. Good.
Before we present it, I do want to read this because it's very important. Well stated. I could not state it any better. It's from the U.S. Department of Justice, Federal Bureau of Recognition is proud to recognize Chief Leonard Hulus of the Papillion Police Department for your many years of distinguished service in law enforcement and your selfless efforts to protect and serve the American public. You have always recognized that a key to combating crime is unstinting cooperation among law enforcement agencies at all levels of government. The FBI and the American people have been the beneficiaries of your professionalism and dedication to duty, and we congratulate you on a remarkable career. And it is signed James B. Comey, Director of the FBI.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Waston and Tom, for taking the time to come and see me. The last speaker that I'll introduce this evening is Officer Chris Goley from the Papillion Police Department. When I asked for bios from all of the speakers, refer to my last time I was up here, Officer Goley responded to my assistant, simply, Chris Goley, President, FOP Lodge 19. Recognizing Chris responded in such a simple manner does not surprise me. He's a very humble man. The unfortunate thing is Officer Goley has not worked with me long enough to realize his lack of response created my own opportunity to do an intro. The primary purpose of Chris speaking tonight is to speak on behalf of the men and women of the Papillion Police Department. Chris was the first officer that Chief Hulus ever hired when he was Chief of Police. Other than being Goley, FOP Lodge 19 President, Chris has served as the canine officer for most of his career with the Papillion Police Department. I often think back to the first time I met Chris. During our conversation, after much extraction of some of my old police interrogation techniques, I discovered that he's also a Korean linguist, pistol marksman, and a certified open water scuba diver. As if being a full-time police officer / canine handler is not enough, Chris is also a trained paramedic. When Papillion no longer utilized volunteer firemen, of where Chris had volunteered for many years, he said, fine, I'll go to La Vista and volunteer. Still lives in Papillion. When La Vista and Papillion combined fire departments, he said, fine, I'll go to Ralston and volunteer. So realizing that Omaha has a paid fire department, I think he's going to have to go to Bennington or somewhere next if Ralston ever goes paid. So, ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome FOP Lodge President 19, Representative Chris Goley, a public servant in its truest sense and a reflection of the type of officer we have in Papillion, to speak on behalf of the men and the women of the PD.
Mayor, council members, Chief, it's a sad day for me. As Mr. Hoynes pointed out, I was your first hire. That will always be a distinct honor for me, knowing that. I don't know what you saw in me way back in June 2001, but my life changed dramatically from that day on, and I'm sure many of the officers standing behind me would say the same thing. Having known you, having been influenced by you, you've changed our lives forever. You've made us better officers. And words can't describe the gratitude we have for that. Your professionalism has been beyond compare. And on behalf of those officers standing behind me, even those that are on the road right now working, answering calls, I'd just like to personally thank you. On behalf of FOP Lodge 19, I'd like to thank you. And as a symbol of our appreciation, we have the shadow box for you, Chief.
You can stay up here. Well, this is, we're still in the official meeting of the City Council, so this all is being recorded in the official minutes, because we have not adjourned. And we're under comments from the floor, comments from council, and comments from mayor, so while it was not specifically published on the agenda, I think it's within the intent of the Open Meetings Act, and if anybody's got a problem with that, go talk to the county sheriff, the state patrol, or the FBI. I would like to open it up to the council if anybody wants to make a comment, and then I'm going to ask Angie to get up and make a few comments on behalf of the family. Council?
I can't go without saying a couple words to Leonard. Being a police chief, whether it's in a city of 100 people or 100,000 people, it's a unique position. Police chiefs have to deal with the philosophy of the community. They have to deal with all of the characters that sit around this table, and the mayors, the city council people. And those faces may change as it did in Leonard's tenure. It changes during your time. And you have to stay true to yourself as much as you can and still serve the people around this table and the people that you truly serve, the citizens of the community. Having been on both sides of the table, coming to the dark side after I left, I have a very good appreciation now of the value of having an excellent police chief. It's certainly nice. The last 15 years I've been on this, or 15 years Leonard's been police chief, it certainly has been a pleasure to know him, and it's certainly a pleasure to know when I go to sleep at night, nothing will happen that anybody's going to call and talk to me about. It takes a special man to be able to do that. It takes somebody special to have that kind of longevity, and you've had a tremendous positive influence on the community during a high growth period. I want to thank you for that. I do have a feeling and appreciate what you've done and the way you've treated me on the council. I do appreciate that as well. And one thing I will encourage you to enjoy in your retirement, I don't think you're going to get calls 24/7 at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning for an emergency fitting. So I hope you enjoy not being on call for the first time in 15 years. Adjust to it and enjoy it. And if there's anything I could ever do it soon because I'm old, but I'll be happy to help you any way I can. Thanks again, Leonard.
Mr. Glover.
I would like to personally thank Lynn for his support with the school district. I worked with Lynn for 15 years, and many of the officers throughout those years, Dan Hoynes also, and Irv, and Chief Davis, Sheriff Davis. I think without the support of the DARE program and the SRO program, my job certainly would have been a lot harder. We had a number of things that happened in my career, whether it was suicides or some real tough issues with gangs, some tough issues with drugs, alcohol, parties. We spent a lot of time together over those years making some tough decisions, and I really appreciate your support, because I know that as administrators change and things go, you know, sometimes these programs have a tendency to maybe not be so important. And for the school district and a principal that spent a lot of years there, the support from the Papillion Police Department was essential for us to do our jobs, and I want to thank you for that.
Any other council comments? Thank you very much. I'd like to invite Angie Halous up, Chief's wife, make a few comments on behalf of the family.
I'm a little afraid. He's gonna kill me. He works for me now, that's right. Oh gosh. So Mayor Black, Dan, Chris, and the city council members. On behalf of the family, I want to thank you tonight for your support of Leonard and his vision for the city and for the Papillion Police Department and its residents. For all the department heads, you guys accepted me as this quiet and shy counterpart to Leonard's outgoing personality, and I'm so grateful for that and for putting up with him when necessary and having his back when needed. I don't believe we could have found a better group of friends among you guys. So this part, I gotta turn this around. Okay. To the members of the Papillion Police Department, I want to thank you all for being our friends, our brothers and sisters in law enforcement. I wasn't gonna cry, sorry. Earlier in the year, before Leonard made his announcement, he asked me if I thought he was crazy to retire. He said everyone thought he was in the perfect position to just skate through for the next few years and to be able to just go on whenever that final date was set. But I could tell he was struggling because it went against everything he believed in. Granted, I'm a little biased, and I think he's the perfect person to be your chief, especially today. He retires because he knows he has completed what he set out to do, and staying any longer would be a disservice to the community and to you. His favorite verse from the Bible is 2 Timothy. I have fought the fight, I have finished the race, I have kept the faith. That short verse is why tonight I think he's retiring at this time. He fought his battles, he finished his race as chief, all in order to keep his faith in making this decision. And you, the men and women, sworn and civilian, are who he's been fighting for since the day he put on that uniform until the day that he takes it off at the end of the year. I'm honored to call you all my family. Okay. So, to you, my love, I am so thankful for you. To take this next step with me is a fight of another kind, a race on another path, and keeping of faith that will make us every more stronger. I love you a long time.
Next, I'd like to invite Acting Chief Chris Whitted.
I've been told to keep my comments brief, so I'll attempt to do that. Before I do, though, I can attest to what Chief Portis said. I was in the exam room those many years ago in 1992 up at the senior high school, and I remember seeing him get up, and I thought to myself, who is this guy? Because I thought there was no way that he, I said, well, yeah, I think I said the same thing, Chief. I said, there's a fail. That's one less I have to worry about. I think I finished third on that list, second or third behind Chief, so I did the best to keep up with him. I just want to say that I've been your number 2 for 10 years ago this month, and I've learned tremendous amounts from you. And while I have to admit I was complicit in helping to organize a small part of this, I know how you are about these things, but that's because Chief doesn't do it for this recognition. He does it because he truly cares. He truly wants a better society. He truly wants the best police department that we can put forward. And you've taught me more lessons than I could talk about here tonight. But I can tell you that I'm going to take those with me going forward. Your attention to detail, understanding when you put your name on something, you got to know what you're talking about. So those are not lessons that have been lost. And I appreciate everything you did. And then don't crush me tomorrow at work for helping this put on. And I would say this, these people are here tonight because they truly care about you and about what you've done and what you've meant to this community. Everyone I spoke with jumped at the chance to come here, so I hope you appreciate all these officers behind us, all these people. We appreciate what you've done for the time you've been with us. So thank you, Chief. And at this time, we are going to present the Chief with his retired badge and ID. We also have a plaque that the city put together here for the Chief. On behalf of the city, on behalf of the City of Papillion, Chief, thank you for your years of service.
And that is the retired badge, and that does allow you to conceal carry, and we'll let you come back for annual qualification. We'll loan you one. I've got one more presentation to make. Would like to give a special proclamation, but before I give that, Lynn, there's a lot of national conversation going on about law enforcement. And I think you can see people are proud of the Papillion Police Department. And while you probably didn't want this recognition, it was important to the elected officials to recognize you. It was important to your troops, it's important to the community, and to your peers. So thanks for putting up with us. It's very important. I'd like to give an official proclamation. Whereas Leonard Halous joined the Papillion Police Department on December 1st, 1992 after serving on active duty as a captain in the United States Air Force. He later joined the United States Air Force Reserves and was assigned to nuclear operations at U.S. STRATCOM headquarters, eventually retiring at the rank of major. And whereas Lynn served as a road patrol officer and detective until then Police Chief Dan Hoynes promoted him to lieutenant in August 1997. And whereas Lynn served as the operations lieutenant until he was promoted to chief of police in May 2001, and whereas Lynn earned his bachelor's degree from McKendree University in Illinois in 1986 and his MBA from the University of South Dakota in 1990, he's also a graduate of the FBI National Academy's 193rd session. And whereas Chief Halous has served as an adjunct faculty member for the criminal justice programs at Metropolitan Community College and Bellevue University. And whereas when Leonard joined the department in 1992, he was one of 14 sworn officers to work at the department. When he was appointed as chief of police in 2001, he commanded a sworn staff of 25. During his leadership, the department has grown to 45 employees, with 40 of those as sworn positions. And whereas the city has undergone unprecedented growth during Leonard's tenure as chief of police, and he oversaw countless events and major incidents during that time frame. And whereas Chief Halous has served the city and the citizens of Papillion in an exemplary manner. Now, therefore, I, David P. Black, Mayor of the City of Papillion, do hereby proclaim December 16, 2014 as Chief Leonard Halous Day, and commend him for maintaining a culture of excellence and high standards during his tenure. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set the hand and caused the official seal of the City of Papillion to be affixed the 16th day of December 2014. I've got one word that I think is my summary, and it's just integrity. And you've brought that as the culture to this department, and that's a legacy you leave. So thank you. Do you want to share anything? Use the mic.
Thank you. First of all, future Chief Whitted, if you take nothing else away from this night, it is no matter how bad you feel, how lousy your cold is, don't dress like a slob to come to city council meetings. It was funny because I saw the mayor downstairs before I came up, and are you faking it, by the way? He remarked that this was going to be the quickest meeting in history because he was feeling lousy. And I said, I'll bet you're not feeling as lousy as I am. And we compared symptoms, and I think we got the same thing. I don't know if we were kissing the same woman or what. So he promised me this was going to be the quickest meeting in history. As I walked up the stairs and I met Ray out front, I said, Ray, I was so hoping to see Whitted's car parked out there because I would have just gone straight home because he and I didn't get on the same page as to who was going to attend the city council meeting tonight. So why didn't you get here just a little quicker? Where did you park? Wow, where do I begin? First of all, to all the presenters, some of the people I most respected in my entire career in law enforcement, I was fortunate enough to attend tonight. I'd also like to, for sure, before I forget, I'd like to recognize Chief Deputy Mike Jones from the Sarpy County Sheriff's Department. I attended his luncheon today, his retirement luncheon today. After 10 years with the Sheriff's Office and a career with the Nebraska State Patrol, I think Mike and I have commiserated over the last year because we've kind of shared plans about our departures. And I think as I sat there and watched your luncheon today, I was just thanking myself that I was just going to be able to slip down on the down low and slip out. And And I just sat there and said, I'm glad I'm not him. But Mike, you're a great friend. You'll continue to be a great friend. You'll be even a greater friend when I come out and visit you in Vegas. So I look forward to seeing you. And congratulations on your contributions to the Sheriff's Office and the State Patrol especially. Some of the finest individuals I've ever met in my life. I've had the good fortune of working with during my career in law enforcement here in Papillion. John Thompson, it is such an honor for me to see you standing back there. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart. You know, I don't even know if our crack investigators noticed, but the weekend before last, I snuck into the office and I stole a little picture out of investigations that you and I, when we were actually probably wasting government dollars by shopping in the mall one day on duty. Yeah, that's a long time ago. Nobody can do anything to us now. I went in and snuck it out. So anytime you want that back, we can switch off each and every year. But I really appreciate you taking time out. It's been a long time, you know, since you've been with us, but you're a good man, and I miss you. Richie, same to you. Thought I'd seen the last of you. You probably hoped you'd seen the last of me. But thank you very much. And Candy, I really appreciate it. As for the rest of you people that put all this together, I trusted you. I believed you when I sat in front of you last week and you said, Leonard, I'll do whatever you want me to do. I said, maybe 5 minutes at a council meeting sometime in the future, that'd be just peachy. We can high five, tell each other how much we loved each other, and then we can go our separate ways. You know, I always thought you were devious, but not quite this devious. That guy, there's no question. It's kind of like your life flashing in front of your eyes. There's the guy that gave birth to me, and there's the guy that put me to death. No, we've had some wonderful times. I think my you were in on this too. You knew about this. I think my wife said it best, and I don't need to rehash all that. I just need to thank everybody that needs to be thanked. Paula Schrader, you, more than almost as much, well, actually probably more than my wife, because I think we spend more waking moments together than she and I do. You've had to listen to at least as many or more of my rants than she ever has. And she's only had to listen to them twice or 3 times over and over again. You've had to listen to them too many times. We went to, and we should have done this once a month for the 10 years that I was chief. But we went to lunch last week, just the 4 of us, Paula, myself, Chris Whitted, and Lieutenant Orrin Orchard, to the Leavenworth Cafe. I will tell you, it's probably 2 of the most fun hours I've ever spent as far as my work time goes. It was I had a great time, and we'll do it again. But Paula, thank you very much. I appreciate you very much, more than you'll ever know. Thank you. To the council members, all the elected officials, present and past, I'd like to thank each and every one of you. You know, for many years during my time with the police department, I was fortunate enough, before being promoted to chief or appointed to chief, that I didn't have to come to these things. Because I will tell you, in years past, city council meetings were a lot more like hockey games than they ever were government meetings. So I can just tell you that during my time that I've sat here and watched everybody, even though maybe not agreeing 100% of the time, being very agreeable. I think it's Steve's terminology used best. Just because we disagree doesn't mean we have to be disagreeable. So I know that each and every one of you throughout the years has respected me as the police chief in my views that the political arena and the law enforcement arena probably should be 2 separate things. And I really, really appreciate the support that I've received from present mayor, mayor past, council members present, council members past. I'm going to miss you all. Hope to get a golf round in with you still. Gene and Bob, if I can only beat Bob, maybe he'll give us a few. But I want to thank each and every one of you for your support It's been a pleasure. You know, I think there are many cities around the country that haven't been nearly as fortunate as we have with respect to the not only the political and the citizenry support that we enjoyed all these years, but also especially the financial support. We've really never, ever, as long as I've worked in the department, ever had to go wanting for something that we really needed on the department. Grandchildren, gotta love them. So it makes all of our jobs infinitely easier, and thank you so very much for all your support. I want to thank my daughters, Lindsay, Stephanie, Kristen. I know 2 of my grandkids are here. Where's Easton? Smart move. I would be too if I could be, believe me. But I love you all dearly, and thank you so much for coming. You were the reasons I stayed in Papillion and didn't head back to the Pentagon, as Mr. Kimball probably knew that I was destined to go back to doing. It was life-changing, and here we all are as a result. So thank you so very much. My mother-in-law, Tess, one of my heroes. Thank you for all your support. You're a beautiful lady and a wonderful mom-in-law. So I thank you very much. Bobby, it's been fun. And I think now you're the senior law enforcement executive in Sarpy County, if I'm not mistaken. No, I don't. I think it's Bob. But anyway, carry on the tradition. I'll see you at the Oscars, my friend. To the men and women of the Papillion Police Department, I can't tell you how proud I am that you chose to come here tonight. I love each and every one of you, and I thank you for your support. The future is nothing but bright for our department and the city. There's a lot of opportunity there, even though each and every one of us knows that those opportunities open up far too seldom. I think it's because of kind of the way we treat our people that by and large we don't want to leave. Relatively low turnover. But with all these nice lies that people told about me tonight, I will say this, I'm not any more proud of any one fact other than the fact that I think we hired the best and the brightest that we possibly could at the time. That'll be my proudest achievement, if I can take any credit at all. I can specifically, with the exception of a few people in this room, I can specifically remember each of your final chief's interviews with me. And I think it was probably like a 3-hour torture session for most of them, maybe in Frank's case, about a 4-day torture session. And Brandon, I appreciate you letting me get away with calling you Matt for a year. I called him Matt Stingy for a year. The guy never even corrected me. So anyway, I wish nothing but the best for the city of Papillion, and especially for the men and women of the Papillion Police Department. With that, I'll acknowledge the love of my life. Come on up here. Mike, if I'd have known this was happening tonight, I would have presented her with flowers and stuff like you did your wife. Now I really feel like a slob. But anyway, you've been my rock, and now I hope to be yours. So, right up until the day I get fired. So I just want to thank everybody. I actually was ruining. On the way down here, I was ruining tomorrow because I was going to work on my farewell speech for our department meeting on Thursday. So obviously, by the quality of my comments, I hadn't worked on it. But I love you, and thank you for your support. And there's my cold. Thank you very much, and don't hesitate to call.
Right after I got into office, I think my first conversation with Lynn was in his office, and he very clearly told me that he did not like politicians. I hope we've earned your trust. I don't think the current elected officials, I don't view them as politicians. It's a lot of people that care about Papillion. So, Lynn, I do hope we've earned your trust because it means a lot. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by Councilman Glover. Second by Councilman Florence. Please vote.
7 yeas, no nays.
We are adjourned, and there are refreshments out in the lobby. Thanks, Lynn.